This video is going to describe how to import a text file into an Excel Access table. Now, you can, the key here is to which text file. There's two different types of text files. One is a delimited file, which uses some type of character or tab that separates the data from one field to another. The most common is a CSV file, or a comma-separated value file. And one way to look at the data is separated by a comma. The other type of file is a fixed width file, and that stores data in predefined positions. So for example, the first field might be stored in positions 1 through 5. The second field will be stored in positions 6 through 15, and so forth. And that is typically a .txt file. Now, when you're importing data from a text file, the field names must match up exactly. You're going to make sure you have to take a look at if the data is contained for a required field, and you also have to make sure you match the data type. So in this example, I have my agents table and design view. If you notice, my primary key field is called employee num. My date hired field is a short date. It's also required, so I have to make sure I have a data for every single agent that I'm going to import, make sure their hire date is there. The last name, first name, multilingual is not required, okay? If you take a look at the phone, this is a field size of 10, it's short text, and we also have an input mask. Now remember, the input mask was, when we look at this in datasheet view, shows the area code in parentheses and a dash that separates it. But those are characters that aren't really stored in the table. The only thing stored in the table are numbers, and it has to be in text format. So, let's go ahead and close this table. All right, and I want you to take a look at the CSV text file. Now, if you take a look, this is all the data is separated by commas. And what we have here is 3 blank rows below, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those blank rows. All right, now, if you notice that we have the first 2 records listed, the phone numbers contain dashes. So let's go ahead and remove them because we don't want to import them. We are only going to import the numbers. And then we want to identify that and make sure it comes in as text and not numbers. So we're going to use the double quotations around each one of the phone numbers and tell Access to import it as text. So give me a few seconds here to put the quotes around each one of the phone numbers here. Now I'm going to, when we run this import, we're going to, on purpose, show you how we have we're going to have an error on purpose, and then we'll come back and fix this. Okay, I got my quotes around that. And the last thing I remember telling you is that the hire date is required. And if you look here on Virginia, the 3rd record down, we do not have her hire date included in there. So let's go ahead and put that in there as 5/17/2014. Okay, so now our data, we think our data looks good. We're ready for our import. So let's just do a quick file save. We'll go ahead and close this CSV file. And we're going to go ahead and append the records to our agents table. So you're going to go to external data, and we're telling Access this is a text file. We're going to go locate the text file, and we're going to append it this time to the agents table. So if you click down here, you're going to want to make sure you pick the table, agents table. Okay, we can see the data here, and it is separated by a comma. So it's a delimited file. Whoops. Okay. And you can see if it was separated by something else, you'd pick a tab or a semicolon or a space, but the comma was the most common, and it shows that. Okay, we can say our first row contains field names. If you don't check that, Access is going to try and bring that first row in as a record. So make sure you check that, and that's the field names. And our text qualifier, we put a text qualifier on our phone as the quotes. So it's going to not pull in those quotes, but it's going to convert that to text. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click Next. I'm importing it to the agents table. I'm going to go ahead and click Finish. And it tells me right away I have an error that the field employee ID doesn't exist in the table agents. So I have to just click OK, and it's not going to let me import the information, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So what I want to do is I'm going to go open my CSV file in Notepad, and I'm going to change this to employee number, NUM. Get rid of the ID. Okay, now it's the field name's going to match. So let's just do a quick file save. We can close this. Let's now see if I want to start over, you could start over again, but let's just go ahead and click Now Finish. Nope, got to start over again. Okay, cancel. So let's start again. Text file. Go locate the new file. Append to the agents. It's delimited. The first row contains fields, and the text qualifier is a double quote. Click Next and Finish. And now this time it says it did work. Do we want to save this? So if someone's constantly updating that CSV file and you're going to want to constantly import these information or append the data, you want to save the steps, but we're not going to go ahead and do that. We're just going to click Close. And now if I open up my agents table, I imported those records. That's importing records into an Access database table.